On the Capitol steps, Trump supporters gathered to express their frustrations. Meanwhile, on the south side of the Capitol, Biden and Harris supporters celebrated. Some expressed distrust in this year's election.
We need not just a recount, we need a revote with protections in place, specifically in the contested states.
So you're talking about not just a recount of the ballots, but a whole redo of the entire election?
Absolutely, because those fraudulent votes are already there. If you recount them, you're recounting fraudulent votes.
Others disagree.
Well, they have a right to do what they're doing, but it's just sad to see that they're not trusting the process and giving in to false claims where there's no proof. And, you know, this is democracy. This is the people have spoken, and you know, we need to trust that. That's just how it works. That's what makes America great.
One Trump supporter said until she knows for certain there was no foul play, she will continue to push for investigations into ballot counts.
We are not looking for violence. We are not looking to steal an election ourselves. We are not looking to blame anybody. We just want what's fair. To have 138,000 votes in Michigan overnight, just 100% for Biden, that's questionable.
I think that's ridiculous, to put it lightly. Here in Utah, we've had vote by mail for a long time, but other states, you know, haven't, and this is something new they've been trying out. Just because the ballots took longer to count doesn't mean they're not valid. You know, a lot of the laws are different state to state.
So while Trump supporters called for vote audits, Biden supporters cheered for the president and vice president-elect.
The protests at the Capitol building started at about 11 a.m. and they grew in size until about 12:30 or 1, maybe 300 people at its biggest. And then at about 1:30, when the rain started, things began to disperse a little bit, but there are still people on both sides here gathered behind me today. In Salt Lake City, Diego Romo, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Now, why you want to give us a hard You're the first folks to show up over the next 4 days. Yes. We love you, Georgia. We love Georgia. We're not going to let them steal this great state. We're going to drive around twice and come back. All I want to say is you info warriors are awesome. And we call on people from all over the South and all over the country to come here, culminating on Saturday with another huge rally like we had in D.C. But you guys are the Poll Reviewers, the first to be here, and you're awesome. I'm going to be with you here in a few minutes. Thank you, Alex. Thank you. Follow the Constitution and must declare an emergency session. The governor must have the legislature take control and oversight as massive fraud is being found all over. Everywhere. And we're here to tell them they're not stealing our republic from us.
Yeah. USA! 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 USA!
Who hides evidence? Criminals hide evidence, not honest people. So, over the next 10 days, we get to see the machines that are crooked, the ballots that are fraudulent, and if we're wrong, we will be made fools of. But if we're right, a lot of them will go to jail. So, Let's have trial by combat.
All of us here today do not want to see our election victory stolen by emboldened radical left Democrats, which is what they're doing, and stolen by the fake news media. That's what they've done and what they're doing. We will never give up. We will never concede. It doesn't happen. You don't concede when there's theft involved. Our country has had enough. We will not take it anymore, and that's what this is all about. And to use a favorite term that all of you people really came up with, we will stop the steal. We have come to demand that Congress do the right thing and only count the electors who have been lawfully slated. I know that everyone here will soon be marching over to the Capitol building to peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard. Today we will see whether Republicans stand strong for integrity of our elections, but whether or not they stand strong for our country. Our country has been under siege for a long time.
We are gathered at a time when democracy is in crisis. Recent polling shows that 39% of Americans believe the election that just occurred, quote, was rigged. You may not agree with that assessment, but it is nonetheless a reality for nearly half the country.
Madam Speaker, I have constituents outside this building right now. I promised my voters to be their voice. In this branch of government, which I now serve, it is my separate but equal obligation to weigh in on this election and object. Are we not a government of, by, and for the people? They know that this election is not right, and as their representative, I am sent here to represent them. I will not allow the people to be ignored. Madam Speaker, it is my duty under the U.S. Constitution to object to the counting of the electoral votes of the state of Arizona. The members who stand here today and accept the results of this concentrated, coordinated, partisan effort by Democrats, where every fraudulent vote cancels out the vote of an honest America, has sided with the extremist left. The United States Congress needs to make an informed decision, and that starts with this objection.
Morning, police are still trying to track down the person who set fire to hundreds of ballots at drop boxes in Vancouver and Portland. Investigators believe that the cases are connected. Now, the fire in Vancouver was reported around 4 yesterday morning near the Fisher's Landing Transit Depot. Officers found a device next to the ballot box that was smoking and on fire. Election staff say that hundreds of ballots were burned. Our Seattle station was able to speak to Senator Maria Cantwell about what happened.
We need to make sure that democracy here in the state of Washington is protected, but I know Washingtonians, they won't be intimidated. They will make sure that they get the vote and they get the vote out.
The other fire was also reported yesterday morning in Portland. Investigators released photos of what they describe as a suspect vehicle spotted near the ballot box.
About 2 weeks before Election Day comes a troubling attack in Los Angeles. A ballot box was set on fire over the weekend, burning dozens of ballots. Law enforcement now stepping up efforts to safeguard mail-in voting sites around the country. Senior correspondent Eric Shawn live for us in New York on this. And Eric, what do we know exactly?
Yeah, good morning, Trace. There is now an arson investigation underway in Los Angeles after someone apparently set fire to a ballot box there. One of the state's official boxes where voters can pop in their vote was left smoldering overnight after it was destroyed by a fire on Sunday in the Baldwin Park neighborhood of Los Angeles. Officials say up to 100 ballots inside were blackened and charred. That attack comes after elections officials decided to allow the state Republican Party to place GOP ballot boxes on the streets. This is apparently not one of them. Investigators say someone lit a newspaper and threw it into the slot of the drop box and burned the ballots. They are sending new ballots to those voters whose votes, though, were destroyed.
The recorder has determined whose ballot was actually in this drop box that was damaged, and they are immediately resending everyone a new ballot for them to fill out and try again.
That means those votes will be saved. Meanwhile, in Pennsylvania, the U.S. attorney there promises to crack down on anyone who tries to interfere with voting.
If you burn things, if you destroy property, if you threaten people, If you attack police officers, we are going to crack down on you as hard as we can.
Well, this comes as the U.S. Supreme Court has handed a win for Democrats in that state, rejecting a Republican move to stop counting absentee ballots that arrive after Election Day. Chief Justice John Roberts siding with the court's liberal wing. This means that absentee ballots will be accepted there for 3 days after November 3rd, but they must be postmarked by that date. In Nevada, the U.S. Attorney has created the role of a, quote, district election officer. Its mission to investigate any election issues in that swing state where early voting kicked off over this weekend. Meanwhile, in Memphis, Tennessee, a poll worker has been fired there after turning away early voters who are wearing Black Lives Matter and I Can't Breathe t-shirts. Under state law, it is specific that a candidate or political party slogan is not allowed on a shirt or being shown at a voting site, but officials there say general statements, even like those, are acceptable, and that poll worker has been let go. Trace?
Eric Sean live for us in New York. Eric, thank you.
Now it is up to Congress to confront this egregious assault on our democracy. And after this, we're going to walk down, and I'll be there with you. We're going to walk down. We're going to walk down anyone you want, but I think right here we're going to walk down to the Capitol, and we're going to cheer on our brave senators and congressmen and women, and we're probably not going to be cheering so much for some of them, because you'll never take back our country with weakness. You have to show strength, and you have to be strong.
Let's go!
This is the moment the storming of the Capitol was launched.
Move! Move!
The time, 12:53. The first Trump supporters reached the barricades set up in front of the Capitol, demanding to be let through. A handful of cops make a brave stand, trying to hold the line, but the angry mob overwhelms them. Hundreds follow, swarming the grounds. Capitol Police are powerless. 1:15, flag-waving Trump loyalists fill the steps and balconies. They even scale the walls.
I can see at least half a dozen protesters scaling, literally climbing the walls of the Capitol.
The thugs smash windows, using fists and a shield. This guy used a metal barrier on a door. 1:33, they're in. TV anchors watching it unfold live are stunned.
It is an absolutely shameful, disgusting situation that we are witnessing.
Everybody stay down!
Inside the chamber, members of Congress take cover.
We were just told that there has been tear gas in the rotunda, and we're being instructed to each of us get gas masks.
These are what the escape hoods look like. They're kept under every chair in the event of a chemical attack. Police blockade the door as the mob stalks the corridors.
The government did this to us. We were normal, good, law-abiding citizens, and you guys did this to us.
Today, the ease and speed by which the mob took over our cradle of democracy is sparking outrage. Some officers did their best. A lone cop is chased up the stairs, outnumbered, on his radio, calling for backup. They chase him up another flight and another, until reinforcements finally arrive. What happens next? Instead of placing them under arrest, it's a negotiation.
What's the point of stopping us at this point?
These cops are under fire for appearing to open barriers to let the protesters through. Another cop took a selfie. MSNBC anchor Joe Scarborough couldn't believe what he was seeing.
Trump supporters come in and you open the doors for them. You open the doors for them and let them breach the people's house.
The chief of the Capitol Police is defending his department today, saying his officers were heroic given the situation they faced. Security officials here at the U.S. Capitol today are totally rethinking their defense. As you can see, they're installing 7 feet tall metal, non-scalable fencing around the entire perimeter of the Capitol. That's because we're less than 2 weeks away from Joe Biden's inauguration, and that's going to take place right here as well. So they don't want a repeat of yesterday's mayhem. 6,000 National Guard troops will be deployed, and the city's police chief vowed to bring the mob to justice.
We still have a significant amount of work ahead of us to identify and hold each and every one of the violent mob accountable for their actions.